สวัสดีค่ะ A very good morning to all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome back to day 2 of this very significant gathering. A warm welcome back to this ASEAN+3 Regional Learning Cities Conference. My name is Pachari Raksa Wong. I'm very honored to be back with you again for the second day here. Now, I'm sure you had an enjoyable and a memorable time at last night's reception dinner, the feasting, and of course, the cultural performances as well. Now, I'm also sure that you're fully rested and you're very much eager to begin another productive day with us. For the first half of the morning, we'll all be here. There's still a lot more ideas to share and discussions. And also in the afternoon, we will be heading out on that field trip to go and see for yourselves the Bangkok learning cities, visiting some communities that are engaged in best practices. But for now, we're going to start off this morning with a special video presentation on learning cities. We're also going to get a glimpse of the case studies and research of the program management unit on area-based development as well. So if you're ready, let's take a look.
Since 2017, the notion of a UNESCO learning city has been introduced as part of urban development in Thailand. From 2017 to 2020, the first 4 cities which were registered as members of the network were Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Chachoengsao, and Phuket. But they operated individually without much support or systematic networking. In 2022, the Program Management Unit on Area-Based Development, or PMUA, and the Equitable Education Fund have integrated bodies of knowledge, research, and innovation in the effort to promote more learning cities across the country, with 6 more cities joining the rank as a result, namely Hat Yai, Phayao, Sukhothai, Khon Kaen, Yala, and Bangkok. Today, more than 10 cities nationwide have been declared members of the UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities, each founded on the determination to foster a learning ecosystem by encouraging lifelong learning programs, connecting learning spaces, and promoting participation from civil society, universities, and local authorities. This consequently creates positive impacts on the economy, society, environment, and quality of life within the livable city framework. And these are the voices and opinions from representative residents in Thailand's cities of learning.
เราคิดว่าเราอยากให้ผู้คนเนี่ยได้เห็นว่าจริงๆแล้วเนี่ยทักษะชีวิตในชีวิตเราเนี่ยมันไม่ได้อยู่ในห้องเรียนเพียงอย่างเดียวเมืองยะลาเป็นเมืองหนึ่งที่เอื้อให้ทุกๆอย่างเนี่ยสามารถเรียนรู้ได้ไม่ว่าจะเป็นหน่วยงานภาครัฐหรือว่าตัวนโยบายต่างๆนะครับพ่อแม่ได้ออกมาส่งลูกให้เขาไปเรียนนอกห้องเรียนเรียนรู้ประสบการณ์ต่างๆในชีวิตทำเป็น business model ต่างๆขึ้นมาหรือแม้แต่น้องๆบางคนที่ทำเรื่องธุรกิจจากสิ่งที่มันอยู่ในทุนในเมืองของเราอย่างเช่นเสื้อผ้ามือสองไปทำเป็น patchwork ต่างๆเนี่ยครับนี่เป็นสิ่งที่เราอยากให้คนได้เห็นเลยว่าเมืองเอื้อประโยชน์ต่อการเรียนรู้นอกห้องเรียนอย่างไรบ้างเนี่ยครับ
ต้องให้ความรู้กับคนก่อนเพราะคนต้องเรียนรู้พร้อมเราเมื่อเราไม่รู้ เอาเข้ามาเรียนรู้พร้อมกันเนี่ยไปด้วยกันเข้าใจถึงเป้าหมายของการพัฒนาเมืองเข้าใจถึงสิ่งที่เราจะทำในทุกการเปลี่ยนแปลงเนี่ยมีปัญหาทั้งนั้นต้องคุยกันนั้นการเปลี่ยนแปลงกายภาพของเมืองการพัฒนาเมืองมันไม่ใช่เรื่องง่ายแต่ไม่ทำก็คือไม่ได้เริ่มต้นในทุกองค์ความรู้ในทุกการเปลี่ยนแปลงต้องได้รับความร่วมมือจากคนในท้องถิ่นนั้นสิ่งที่จะได้รับคือเขาต้องรู้เท่ากับเรา
แต่ละเมืองตีความคำว่าซิตี้หรือว่าเมืองเนี่ยแตกต่างกันแล้วผมคิดว่าตรงนี้เป็นจุดเด่นที่ทำให้โครงการ Learning City เนี่ยมันมีความหลากหลายลักษณะของการขยายจากสิ่งที่มีอยู่แล้วเดิมซึ่งตรงนี้ผมคิดว่าเป็นสิ่งที่ Learning City เนี่ยให้ประโยชน์มากๆแล้วก็การทำให้สิ่งต่างๆที่มันกระจัดกระจายไม่เป็นเนื้อเดียวกันให้มันเข้ามาเป็นเนื้อเดียวกันเป็นเรื่องเดียวกันตัวนี้เป็นสิ่งที่สำคัญเพราะว่ามันเป็นมุมมองที่เกิดขึ้นจากการตีความของเงื่อนไขของแต่ละเมืองสุดท้ายก็คือการทำงานร่วมกันการทลายกำแพงของความทำงานต่างคนต่างทำผมคิดว่า Learning City เนี่ยเป็นกลไกสำคัญในการขับเคลื่อนสิ่งเหล่านี้ครับ
With the vision and goal to formulate a new mechanism to push the cities of learning further in the future, the Thailand Learning City Platform has been launched as a result of collaboration among numerous organizations, including UNESCO Thailand, the Bureau of International Cooperation under the Ministry of Education, the Programme Management Unit on Area-Based Development, or PMUA, the Equitable Education Fund, the Office of Knowledge Management and Development, and TK Park. Thailand Learning City Platform is truly a milestone in developing the cities of learning in Thailand, as it helps elevate the quality of learning in the ASEAN region, which will prove to be beneficial for the development of cities in the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize for the technical glitches during the initial part of the video, but finally we got the whole message, and it was a very, very insightful, very powerful message that we received from that video presentation, one that further highlights the need for us to come together to collaborate, distinguished guests, in taking concrete actions to further promote lifelong learning as well as connectivity in making a reality learning cities across our region. Thank you so much for your attention there. We're going to move right along. We are going to be wrapping up the breakout sessions from yesterday. So you were all very, very active in your participation, in your discussions, and we thank you so much because your thoughts, your perspectives mean a lot, and that's how we are going to move forward together. So wrapping up the 4 sessions, we have 2 guests who will be joining us on stage to do that for us. We'll start with the first session and the third session, and those are the ones on fun and inclusive spaces and also leadership. Mr. Gunawan Zaki, the National Professional Officer at UNESCO Jakarta office, he will be joining us on stage to wrap that up for us. Mr. Zaki, the floor is yours. Thank you. Selamat pagi to you, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So now the time for me to provide some summary of our parallel session yesterday. I believe that you enjoyed it so much because we had so much exchanges in terms of the information, lesson learned, also some good practices from the cities, how they run the Learning Cities program. So this morning, I'll be sharing with you the summary or some reflections from the first and the third session yesterday. The first session, we had the speaker from Shibuya City, Japan, Petaling Jaya City, Malaysia, Chiang Rai City, Thailand, also from the Office of Knowledge Management and Development here in Thailand. So this is some key highlights of the session on session 1. So the topic was really fun and inclusive learning spaces for all. It means that like how the learning cities provide like a kind of open learning spaces for anybody in the country or in the city. So some topics being discussed yesterday, key highlight, the first one is like some cities have initiated like a one-stop inclusive and safe spaces. So it's not only about inclusive, but it should be safe for everybody to be part, to include, to engage, to participate into the learning spaces provided or developed by the city. The second one is, of course, like a the open spaces is being developed. There should be kind of consultation, interactive or integrated participative consultation among the relevant stakeholders within the cities. So some cities have learned and have taken some actions for this. And the next one is to make sure that the open spaces is accessible. So the accessibility of the open spaces is very important. The next two is like the community engagement and participation. It is very important. Yesterday there was some discussion how we can really engage community. Community doesn't mean only the parents, teachers, or only the school communities, but community in the broader concept. We have the private sectors, non-profit organizations. We have the other community members that can support the initiative of the open learning spaces. And last but not least, it is very important also to engage, to involve the young people, the youth participations, to make sure that they contribute in running, in executing, and in supporting the implementation of the program in the learning spaces, including like making some programs like upskilling or reskilling, engaging the young people. The first session coming with some recommendations as well. The first one is, of course, like the next one is there should be an education vision exist in the learning city. So this education will really drive the continuations of the program, of the process of these learning spaces. The second one is there should be planning and monitoring mechanism in place. So to ensure that the learning spaces is utilized by the community, by the young people, by the students, learners, there should be kind of monitoring and also a planning mechanism. And there is indeed very important to have this political will and commitment from the policy makers and from the parliament members to ensure all the existing learning spaces are being utilized and used. And last but not least, one of the recommendations for the session 1 is to ensure the continuation of partnership and collaboration with multi-stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me come to the next summary of parallel session 3. It's about leadership for learning city. So in this session yesterday, we had the speaker from Legazpi City, the Philippines. We have also the speaker from Changzhou City in China. We have the speaker from Yala City, Thailand. Also, of course, we have the speaker from Simeo Seps here in Bangkok. The highlight of the sessions, leadership is very important. And the participants, the speakers have agreed that the leader should have strong vision for lifelong learning and prioritize educational development. So we are thinking the future, how we can link, the leader should link all interventions, all programs to sustainable development. The second highlights is some countries have expressed that their leaders have worked very hard to secure the financial contribution and also allocating human resources to ensure the program under the learning cities work and run. And there were some exchanges also on the importance of having or creating the inclusive policies. Some cities have developed the inclusive policies. It means inclusive starting from the planning, participatory planning, until engaging the people from the city to contribute, to give their voice when they are developing the policies. And of course, the leaders also should have this kind of skill, adaptability, and resilience. Some cities mentioned in some areas now really like the natural disasters, the pandemic, and also the climate change. So we should have the leaders that understand about these kind of situations that can put that into the policies. And the next one is leverage technology. This is like one of the key topics. Now we are talking about all digital technology, digital learning platforms. So we need to have the leaders that have this kind of understanding and vision about leveraging technology. And of course, like the skill of uniting the stakeholders is still very important. In the learning spaces, partnership is important. In leadership also, uniting the stakeholders also one of the skills that needs to be owned by the leaders in the learning city. Now let me come to the last of my sharing from the summary of the session 3 yesterday on the recommendation. So the recommendation of the session say there is a need of provisions of inclusive and accessible digital learning platform available. So now we answer the current situation under the use, the needs of digital learning platform. And the second one is to ensure the learning initiative contribute to the environmental awareness. So back to the climate change information, the climate change situation, the natural disasters, the pandemic we experienced from that. So we need also to ensure the learning initiative contribute to the environmental awareness, health, economic stability, and community well-being. The next one is data-driven. Some speakers state about the importance of data-driven for the participation and cooperation, of course, including when we develop the planning and monitoring mechanism. The 2 points from the recommendation of the parallel session 3 is about leadership and capacity building. Of course, like the leaders, the city mayors need to also strengthen the capacity of those involved in the presence or the existence of the learning city. And last but not least, we need to start building networks. I think one of the speakers yesterday, okay, we are open. Please come to our city to be part of our city, sister city. So this kind of offers from the city also can bring us to engage to building our network in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the summary of panel session 1 and 3. Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you very much to you as well, Mr. Saki. Appreciate it. Wrapping up the key takeaways from session 1 and 3, the afternoon discussions yesterday. And now we're going to cover what we brought forth for sessions 2 and 4. Session 2 was leaving no one behind, and session 4 was all about green, sustainable cities. I'd like to invite Dr. Mario de los Reyes, Professor and former Dean, Professorial Lecturer and Director of the Pascal Center for Asia Pacific at the University of the Philippines School of Urban and Regional Planning. Dr. Reyes, please.
Good morning, everyone. We are presenting the highlights and actions for parallel sessions 2 and 4. Parallel session 2, LNOB, or Leave No One Behind in Learning City Initiatives. We have presenters coming from Singapore, Associate Professor Keng, and Son La City, Vietnam, we have presenter Mr. Chien. We have a presenter in Surabaya City, Indonesia, Mr. Wadyu Drajad, sorry if I cannot pronounce that correctly. And the last presenter is Ms. Koi Prapa from Payao City, Thailand. So these are the, from the first presenters, I will be more specific by city. And so this is the, from the session objectives of Parallel 2 is to focus on the How Learning City initiative foster inclusivity, and then learn from insights and strategies for building inclusive learning that empower everyone, regardless of age, ability, and background. So one reflection, we have a youth from Payao City, said that he suffered depression before engaging in the lifelong learning activities. So, and that after that engaging in the lifelong learning activities in Payao City, he improved his confidence and expanded his social circle and achieved better academic results. And I remember that he was able to, or he is able to now cook better in his with his family. So, the presenter from Singapore said that the 1PA, One People's Association mission, is to build and bridge communities in achieving One People, One Singapore initiative. So it brings racial and social cohesion through learning and understanding each other's culture as an integral part of this learning city. So they have this community action network, a program under 1PA to uplift the disadvantaged students. And also, they have this council of third age for seniors or senior citizens to remain active, have a lifelong learning activities and positive aging, funded, of course, by the Skills Future program of Singapore. The Singapore Enable program support learning for disability and inclusion. And then they have this technology in lifelong learning, work with the ed tech or education technology that creates opportunities. And they said that equity, not just access and an opportunity, but they have, the stakeholders has the ability to decide and inform decisions. In Son La City, this is a multi-ethnic city in Vietnam. They have prepared a master plan for building global city. Of course, they have 8 strategies, but the slogan is the lifelong learning, sustainable culture, bright future, and deep integration. So they promote learning opportunities from basic education and increasing investment. They said that there's they acknowledge that they have this increasing investment with the learning cities. And then they have reduced poverty rates through classification and suitable solutions, and preserving and promoting the cultural heritage of ethnic minorities important for lifelong learning. So for orphans, through Social Protection Center that currently cares for around 105 orphans, providing full material and educational support. And for children with disabilities, the city center have an exclusive education development that supports 150 students. And they acknowledge that many things still to be done in learning leaving no one behind in their learning cities. For Surabaya City, this is a UNICEF Global Child-Friendly City, of course, a learning city by UNESCO, and they are achieving a high rate in the achievement of SDGs. So that the budget for education is increasing, that reflects commitment to education and aims to improve inclusivity. So lifelong learning to all citizens and age groups for supportive environment for all, and expands to informal learning, creating education facilities for children, women empowerment, education facilities for disabilities, and digital literacy education. And they have this gig economy, a circular economy, creative economy, etc. And the positive outcome of the Surabaya Learning City, indices show gender inequality has fallen and Human Development Index has increased. And lastly, the Payao City in Thailand, integrated the diverse stakeholders in the area, connect database, especially dropout students, and design a learning management that work with all partners so that they can design activities of people. So, achievements able to reduce the gaps of out-of-school children to promote exchange knowledge in children. So they have this learning encouragement office that helps children, helps the out-of-school children and promote exchange of knowledge in children. And then continuous activities for children and youth strategies. Their achievement is reduce the imparity for children with a focus on disabled children. So they were asked, what are the key strategies and innovation most efficient in exchanging vulnerable groups, ensuring lifelong learning? First, in Singapore, technology is very important, but quite a number of people not comfortable with using it. So how to harness technology for learning, people abilities to use and apply technology is very important. And they hope that they could, they said that among others, among other people, technology, Singapore is a model, but they said that they have, they're still work in progress, especially in Learning City. In Vietnam, policy from the government increased the funds for building the facilities for lifelong learning and opportunities for all. In Surabaya, this pentahelix strategy or collaborative strategy among public or the government, private sector, the CSOs, academe, and stakeholders, so open new things and working with the in monitoring system for out-of-school children. So focus on children. And in Payao City, this is a city, a caring city, having a learning encouragement office for especially for children, working with stakeholders and emphasizing on building partnerships. Now, on parallel section 4, on the citizen-led learning and action for smart and greening city development. So this is another kind of style of discussion because we have the moderator and then we have the presenters, Dr. Kanchanat Chuan from Hat Yai City, Thailand. We have Mr. Zhao from Nanjing City, China, and Mr. Lauviro Janakul from Khon Kaen City, Thailand. So they were asked by the moderator 5 questions. One is what are the current social, cultural, and economic contexts of your cities? Second, what were the journey to becoming a learning city? Third, what are the strategies in promoting green development? And fourth, what partnership exists in citizen-led learning city? And then fifth, shared lessons learned from on the above sessions. So I just took the fifth, sharing lessons learned from the above sessions. So from Khon Kaen, Thailand, cooperation between stakeholders within the city is is the key or essential if they want to drive the Learning City initiative. There is a need to talk to everyone about its goals and values, and people do their part to the best of their ability. For Nanjing, China, to be a green and smart city, it's important to have frameworks and all the stakeholders together. We have the government, the social institutions, and individuals, or else the people will move. And then in Hat Yai, Thailand, everyone should have a target or individual goal to improve themselves and share themselves experiences through a network that will come together. So the key highlights and lessons learned from these three cities: cooperation and engagement. So effective cooperation among stakeholders is essential or key. Engaging in both formal and informal discussion foster a shared understanding of goals and process in becoming a learning city. And the second, collective contribution. Each participant brings unique insights, making it vital to learn from one another and enhance the collective effort. Third, framework establishment. As long as there are a framework they could rally behind that framework, and that encourage dialogue from the citizen. And then lastly, focus on self-improvement and collaboration. So if an individual is improving, then they have to collaborate both within the cities and across cities, especially solving or contributing to the problem on disaster, climate change, and this pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much too as well, Dr. Mario Reyes, for taking us back to yesterday's session. The two sessions, giving us the main highlights, and the two sessions, a very enriching discussion among all of you indeed, with plenty of food for thought, considerations going forward. And now, talking about going forward, we're going to really focus on the future now in the next keynote address entitled Learning City of the Future. And to deliver this presentation and share her insights with you, we have Associate Professor of Sociology at the College of Interdisciplinary and Experiential Learning at the Singapore University of Social Sciences, Dr. Rita Padawangi. Please join us on stage. Let's extend her a warm welcome as she makes her way up here to the lectern. Delighted to have you, Dr. Rita. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you also to the organizers for inviting me to the stage. I didn't realize that there will be like so many people coming from all over the region, so I'm very happy to share my own thoughts about learning cities of the future. Now, I did ask to the master of ceremony whether I can borrow her microphone, because I feel that I do want to move around. This is a really big stage, so I feel that if I'm just stuck there, I'm a little confined to that small corner. All right, so for today, I've been asked to talk about our aspirations for the future. And I myself am an urban sociologist with a little bit of training in architecture and urban design. I should also say that I am not an education person. So what you see here will mostly be views about urban planning, urban spaces, and how we can see learning in these spaces. So let's pick up from the point that Dr. Rika yesterday opened the conference with, and it was about the city. Now, if we hear the term city, all of us would always feel that we know what a city is. But at the same time, each and every one of us may have slightly different aspiration of why we actually live in the city, or why humans actually decide to make cities. And there are lots of theories about what cities are. I kind of like how Aristotle envisioned what a city is a few thousand years ago. And he did say that the city is the ultimate form of a human community. Now, the interesting part of this is really the emphasis on human and the emphasis on community, right? And with that form of human community comes the built environment, the spaces to have those communities and the social and political systems that support those communities so that those communities can achieve the purpose of making a city. But what are the purposes of making a city? And that really relates to what kind of experiences do we want in our cities? What kind of communities do we want to have in the city? And that brings us to what Dr. Rika yesterday mentioned, which is a notion of human flourishing. There's a reason why we want to form a community. We don't form communities because we don't want a good life. We do want a better life, and that's why we create communities, and that eventually those communities, if the ultimate form of a human community is a city, therefore the purpose of making a city inherently should be consistent with the notion of human flourishing. Now let's look at the notion of learning now. How do we associate learning with human flourishing? This one actually is not very difficult, I would say. Learning as human flourishing, basically human flourishing is an optimal fulfillment of goods and virtues as a complete well-being from one's potentials without reducing others' opportunities to achieve. Yeah, so we want to achieve something without reducing others' opportunities. So we want to flourish as individuals, the individual dimension, but we also have the interpersonal and collective dimensions, and these should go together. And there are definitions about human flourishing. I just quote one here. Human flourishing as a multi-systemic network of interconnected, interdependent constituents whose relations can show similarities as well as differences across contexts. Now, academics like to cite, so that's why we always have all these citations. But I know I shouldn't have so many of them because I don't want to bore you with that. Yeah? So let's just simplify this. There are also concepts of how do we operationalize it then. If we know that it is about well-being, if we know that human flourishing is what we want to achieve, then what are the domains? If we want to, let's make it a little simpler. So what should we do? What should we focus on? Again, these are based on some of the theories that I learned throughout this academic journey. There are domains of human flourishing as follows: happiness and life satisfaction, mental and physical health, meaning and purpose, character and virtue, and also close social relationships. All the dimensions that makes us hopefully a better human being. And this also, again, going back to the ancient Athens philosopher Aristotle, he also had this concept of eudaimonia, which is really related to these domains of human flourishing. With the topic of learning city and human flourishing, how does education then fit into the picture? Is education also playing a role in human flourishing? Definitely, because learning is definitely related to education. But of course, they are not exactly the same. So while education refers to a structured system of knowledge transfer, learning is something broader, which is a process of acquiring those knowledge and skills. And so we saw the video presentation this morning about learning cities in Thailand, and that's something that is even broader, not just the education sector. Learning actually consists of also many spaces in the city. But for most governments, probably education is the sector that relates directly with learning because there are measurable achievements from the education sector. And this is just an example of it. I picked this up from the UNESCO Institute of Statistics, and this just shows the level of proficiency in reading as well as learning poverty among children. And it seems that countries in East and Southeast Asia are mostly doing relatively well in terms of most actually achieve more than 50% of proficiency level at the end of primary education. But of course, the downside of it is quite unequal, as this is also consistently related with levels of income in the countries. Besides education, how about higher education? A person like me, for example, I teach in a university, and we are in the higher education sector. Well, in Southeast Asia, it seems that the enrollment of students in higher education keeps going up, which is good news, right? From 1980 to 2017, the chart keeps going up, and this also is consistent with the increase of incomes. However, when we look at that a little more closely, there are still challenges, which is about the unequal distribution of that enrollment. We can see consistently and unsurprisingly that levels of enrollment in higher education in urban area is always much, much higher than in rural area. That means that the people who live in the rural area tend to have lesser opportunities to enroll in higher education. And if we break it down by income as well, the poorest will have lesser enrollment in higher education across many countries in Southeast Asia, as is shown in the chart on the right. So this is the data from OECD. Now, we talked about education there, and we talked about human flourishing. And I kind of summarized the domains of human flourishing here on the left. This is the same as the list that we saw before. Now, ironically, there has been studies that put them as a paradox. While education system can be in place, sometimes they can also contradict human flourishing. And when does that happen? If children or young people in school, they have school-related stress, studies have shown that negative impacts of school-related stress, they compromise the young people's quality of life. And academic stress links to psychological distress, such as anxiety and depression. And this relates to demands and pressure from school. There are school-related worries as well. And also in universities, there has been studies that academic stress are also growing among students, and that compromise the well-being of the students especially. Now, since we saw learning and we saw education, the paradox, now we are all here because we are all committed, not just interested, but we are all committed on the learning city. So this is getting from UNESCO, right? Let's go through the definition again. Learning city, I'm sure we are all familiar with this. A learning city promotes lifelong learning for all and mobilizes resources to promote inclusive learning and revitalize learning in families and communities, facilitates learning for and in the workplace, extends the use of modern learning technologies, enhances quality and excellence in learning, and fosters a culture of learning throughout life. What I really admire from this definition is the notion of inclusivity and also empowerment of individuals and communities. So the city enhances individual empowerment and social inclusion, economic development and cultural prosperity, and sustainable development. All these seem to fit very nicely to the domains of human flourishing, they are all consistent. And for the representatives here from members of the Global Network of Learning Cities, all of you have been recognized for your outstanding efforts in lifelong learning for all at the local level. Of course, what are the challenges ahead? Right? So we celebrate our achievements today, but cities are always moving forward. So what are the challenges ahead to keep the city as a learning city for all? So I'm not going to read this in detail because I know that we are going to a field trip, right, later this afternoon. But I just want to highlight that what learning cities do, in my observation, first of all, definitely we need government commitment. This is an example of our host city, Bangkok, that have medium-term goals, long-term goals, and these are the roles of the government in making policies, plan and implementation, and also practice these good practices. But of course, there are also elements of stakeholder participation, and these are, again, images from the community partners. I believe that you're also going to visit this community today, so I'm not gonna pretend that I know more about this. So these are just sneak peek of the field trip. But in the network, there are also other cities. And I just randomly pick other cities, and I feel that, okay, let's look for other countries that are here. And the reason why I pick Chengdu is because I just want to highlight this breadth, the spread of the learning cities, and the very different challenges that may be encountered. So Bangkok has 11 million population. Chengdu here has between 14 to 16 million population, thousands of tourists, millions actually of tourists, hundreds of museums, and of course different cultural contexts and different kinds of relationships among the stakeholders in the city. So given the diversity of the learning cities, what might be the common challenges? I took from the report from the UN Habitat, the most recent World Cities report that is available online, which is Envisaging the Future of Cities. This is not a new story. Of course, the majority of the population will live in urban areas, and it will keep increasing. Now, the question here that realizing this pattern that more and more people are going to live in cities, what kind of cities do we want to have? How would they be relevant to learning? And most importantly, how do we get there, right? And this is the first challenge, and many of you have mentioned this throughout the conference. We are facing, first of all, digitalization in and of everyday life. On average, now more than 50% of the population in this region has a mobile cellular device with internet connection, and once you have that, basically, wherever you go, you will carry your own private personal territory with you. So your private personal territory is carried portable, right? So everybody can be in one room, but in any given time, you are always connected with another space outside here. And what do we do with this? There are consequences in terms of our education system. How do we design teaching approaches that actually acknowledges this and also leverage on this rather than always fighting this, right? And also artificial intelligence in everyday life, and how would they affect the domains of human flourishing? So that's the first challenge. Second, and also very, very important, is cities and social inequality. And this has been mentioned repeatedly in the World Cities Report, that there are unequal opportunities in among urban inhabitants, depending on their income and employment, and also water and sanitation access in cities are unequal. Also, access to health and housing, all the basic needs. And the problem here is that there's this urban spatial divide. The winner takes all. So those who have more access will tend to take all, and those who have less access tend to not get anything. So this also affects opportunities for learning as being represented in the numbers about education previously. Yeah? And this is just an example on one of the measures of inequality. These are levels of urban poverty in countries of Southeast Asia. And the picture on the right side here also shows these are pictures from the same city, actually, one of the cities in Southeast Asia. And I would say, I'm not going to say which city, but these are taken from the same city, and they're not far from each other. So while you can have one photo showing all the big developments, very thriving economy on one hand, at the bottom is actually an urban poor community that is under threat of eviction. Yeah. So, and they are not far from each other. So these are representations of inequality. And I'm sure you can find these contrasts in many cities. These are some more photos of urban poor communities. This is from Jakarta, and that one is from Phnom Penh. And we can continue to reflect how these inequalities affect learning. So one of the takeaways yesterday, as being summarized by the previous presenters, Pak Gunawan and Mr. Mario, that we need also meaningful stakeholder participation to overcome the challenges that are imposed by inequality. But I also say that stakeholder participation is not so much just to get information, but stakeholder participation can be a learning platform for everybody to know more about the people of the city. And this is another example of the potentials of stakeholder participation. No matter how poor communities are, because cities are where people form communities for human flourishing. So no matter how little their resources are, there can be potentials to achieve that human flourishing. This photo was taken from an urban poor community in Jakarta, and they are very flood prone, and they managed to have an open space for the children to have a library, to have these lessons, and ballet lessons. They managed to involve different people from different institutions to volunteer to help them do this. And this has been going well. But unfortunately, the story didn't really end very happily because just a year after they started these lessons, the bulldozers came. And this is often the misunderstanding of many governments because we do want cities that look good. We do want cities that have supporting environment for everybody. And the temptation for an instant intervention is always there. But if the intervention involves forceful eviction and displacement of people, that will also compromise the learning experience and the human flourishing of communities because it actually creates a traumatic experience. So this is not an easy task for governments, right? And that's just one about inequality in terms of income. How about another kind of inequality across groups? So many have mentioned about aging cities. We are facing aging population. From year 2015 to 2050, the proportion of the world 60 plus years old will double from 12% to 22%. In 2050, we have 2 billion population of the world over 60 years old, and including 434 million over 80. And there will be more older adults compared to children under 14. And most of the world's population will be aging in cities. So what should we do with that? And the challenge is not stopping at the numbers. This is about the time that we have. In contrast to other countries like the US, Australia, Sweden, or France, who had more time to figure out the aging population, many countries in Asia don't have time. We will reach the aged population in a much shorter period of time compared to France, for example. And so what should we do with this? I can't claim I know all the answers, but I do hope that we can consider this when we imagine the future of learning cities. So as an urban sociologist, and I said, so what are the more promising things, right? We can't just talk about the problems. Well, there are also some spaces of hope, I would say. And I can see some smiling faces for those of you who recognize which cities these are from. These are some approaches that we can use for learning cities. If we want all the spaces to be useful for human flourishing, we can think about just start from the public spaces. How about the parks? How about imagining the parks as a place where people can learn about the environment, on how people can learn about nature-based solutions, or a park where people can actually read. This is a literacy park. They really name it literacy park, right? And also acknowledging the potentials of the communities. Sometimes the government may not have the capacity to do it because there are just so many things to do. But the most important is to understand, to know the potentials of each community. These are pictures from initiatives that are bottom up. So this one on the left side is from Sentani. This is a Rumah Baca, which is a reading house, and that is solely started from the communities, and then they got support from the government as well as from foundations. And so, and what do we do as institutions? This is the institution where I'm based. So for universities, we can think about how universities can open up also to embrace lifelong learning. Yeah. Anyway, I think I am going to run out of time very soon. So I'm just going to show you some nice photos in the last 30 seconds. So these are some ideas for university educators, and I'm sure these, some of you already implemented this, that learning, it can be outside the campus or the classroom. These are real photos of students actually taking modules outside the classroom. These are when I took them for learning about food security. They need to be able to have their own experiences in the field, knowing where the rice comes from and all that. This is another example from a project that I'm doing in terms of research, not exactly on teaching, but in research, we try to involve communities to create these spaces. So this is from collaborators in Phnom Penh, working with communities to improve their public spaces, and the design actually comes from the community together with the artists that we involve in the project. Yeah. And this is what we are doing in Timor-Leste, in Dili. So engaging the communities also in flood-prone areas and try to learn from them their environmental challenges, as well as learning together on what we can do, recycling, having children's drawing contests about the environment, and also some community gardening that we can do together. And this is part of a research project, not really separated as like community development or separated from the university, but this is part of our research project in Dili. And also we use spaces in the community in collaboration for their learning. So all these activities that we are doing in relation to our research project, we try to do it in the community as well, to bring our higher education closer to communities, also to address the inequality of access to higher education. Now, I also would like to highlight, since this is very recent also, universities can also work with city governments. So this is a recent example, and representative from Surabaya is here. There was a big conference, academic conference in Surabaya recently, and in this conference, instead of having an academic conference only in campuses, the academic conference actually uses the spaces in the city to hold events. And so each space in the city can be used to engage communities and also the wider population to take part in the conference. There are lots of challenges doing this too. I won't bore you with the details, but I'm just showing you that it is possible to break down these barriers. Anyway, I'm so sorry to take too much of the time that is allocated for me, but just to wrap up, that we are continuously looking for ways to go to the future as learning cities. We do acknowledge that there are urban development, social and environmental issues of the present
and will carry on to the future. But the most important is we have to keep thinking how to meaningfully involve all stakeholders and the people-friendly urban spaces and systems, not just the spaces, but also systems of these connections among the stakeholders for lifelong learning and human flourishing is very important to continue to keep in mind. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rita. Very insightful, very informative indeed there. Learning cities of the future. To be greener, to be smarter, more connected, more inclusive. Among the key points she addressed, going forward, we need government commitment, we need stakeholder participation. Collaboration is so very crucial indeed. Thank you as well for all the examples you gave us there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to pause for a 10-minute break. So please feel free to step outside and freshen up. Choose your beverage, coffee, tea being served, and some snacks outside as well. Now, just some announcements. Those of you who are sponsored international participants, you can collect your logistics fare. Don't forget you need your passports and your boarding pass as well. You can also still register for the afternoon study trip. And also, I believe someone's missing a pair of glasses from yesterday's parallel session. You can collect that at the registration desk. So please do that. And the exhibition outside, don't forget to stop by. We do need your support here. We've got local communities coming in to show off there and showcase rather there, where I actually did some shopping yesterday. I got myself this lovely floral brooch. And yes, so please feel free to walk around. With that said, enjoy your break and see you back here at 10:30. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for rejoining us here. We will waste no time. We're going to shift our focus to discover more about the local perspective, and that is the Thailand perspective with this topic, Thailand Learning City Platform. And to give us all the details, the chairperson of the advisory committee of the Thailand Academy for Area Collaboration, Innovation and Transformation of the Program Management Unit on Area-Based Development. Let's welcome on stage Dr. Silaporn Buasai. I am sure this will also be a very informative, insightful presentation, and we do look forward to hearing what you have to share with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Silaporn Buasai.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, dear colleagues from all nations and distinguished guests. I hope you enjoy sharing your experience as well as learning from others on how we mobilize Learning City. In this conference, let me tell you that for participants from Thailand, we have 33 cities joining us in this conference. They want to hear from the experience of our neighboring countries. And I presume we have 7 teams from the north, namely from Sukhothai, Phitsanulok, Phayao, Chiang Mai, Lampang, Sa Kaeo, Mae Hong Son, and Lamphun. And from the northeast, we have 6 cities. That is the Khon Kaen, Kalasin, Nakhon Phanom, Mahasarakam, Mukdahan, Korat. We have 8 from the central part of Thailand, that is Chachoengsao, Rayong, Kanchanaburi, Chonburi, Krungthep Mahanakhon, Bangkok, Nakhon Nayok, and Sa Kaeo and Ranong. And from the south, we have 12 cities: Pattani, Surat Thani, Yala, Nakhon Sri Thammarat, Pathalung, Satun, Phuket, ตรังนราธิวาสประจวบคีรีขันธ์คือหัวหินนะฮะหัดใหญ่สงขลา so we have all this participating plus we have 12 mayors and councillors from municipalities in Thailand who join in. So therefore, I'd like to take this opportunity to announce that the supporting partners, namely the Equitable Education Fund, the OKMD, the PMUA, with the support of UNESCO, will further drive the Learning City movement in Thailand by launching the Thailand Learning City Platform. But before going into details about the platform, I'd like to share my view on the operationalization of the Learning City concept. I think there are at least 2 learning loops here that we should address. The first one is the learning of the target groups, such as the out-of-school children or the disabled persons, the senior citizens or workers who need reskilling or upskilling. The goal of this learning loop, this first loop, is to boost and broaden their capability and access to learning conducive to their needs. Yesterday, we have learned from many country cases on how the Learning City movement could impact the learning of diverse target groups and beneficiaries. The second learning loop is the learning of key stakeholders to form the city movement and action plan. Because the stake is too high and the scope of work to promote lifelong learning for all is too large, beyond the capacity and resource of those in the school and education sector, we need support from all parties in the city, namely the mayors, the local government, the private sector, the civil society, the media, and the knowledge sector, that is the university. To mobilize these stakeholders to work together, to collaborate, it needs data and learning. This is the second learning loop, and this is where research and PMUA came in. This second learning loop tackles the issues of political will, leadership, engagement, partnership and collaboration, resource mobilization, all the recommendations that Dr. Saki was mentioning earlier this morning. That was the recommendation from all our participants in the yesterday's sessions. The learning movement in Thailand has remarkably flourished during the past 5 years. Currently, PMUA has supported research projects in approximately 40 cities, as you see here. And we have EEF covering seven cities, 7 areas. The numbers are here. This is not very responsive. And OKMD and TK Park provide learning facilities and supports learning activities in several more. This research-driven Learning City movement in Thailand is based on the area-based collaborative research concept, employing the participatory action research methodology. This unique research process served as an interactive learning space for all key stakeholders in the city to learn and work together. This is the second learning loop, which is very crucial in preparing the city network ready for lifelong learning journey. Thailand Learning City Platform is designed to facilitate knowledge sharing among all city actors. From all research projects in many cities in the past 3 years, we have observed that each city has its unique development agenda and their own social capital. And in order to achieve development goals, they need to change the mindset, value set, and skill set of diverse target groups. We therefore see dynamics and power of learning far beyond schooling. Learning in this aspect has the power to change the city. Thailand Learning City Platform, as we have discussed among our stakeholders, will consist of 6 components. The first one is the Learning City Academy and Forum. The second one is research and evaluation. The third one is award and recognition. The fourth one is database and digital platform. The fifth one is the Learning City Week. And the last one is Lifelong Learning Booster. Let me go one by one. The Learning Forum and Academy is the key instrumental activity for knowledge exchange. Knowledge sharing and networking are the springboard that could open doors to training programs for city managers and leaders, knowledge and educational resources for educators, as well as content media for social communication and policy advocacy. So this is the first and foremost, most important one that we aim to. Actually, when we first start thinking about this platform, we only think about this component. But later on, we find that we need a lot more in order to propel the movement forward. The networking part is also essential. Included in this component are policy network, research network, and city actor network, which is now start forming in Thailand. The second component is the learning, evaluation, and strategic research. As I mentioned earlier, research has been a key component that supports the growth of Learning City movement in Thailand. We put emphasis on research management from upstream activities such as identifying the strategic research agenda, all the way down to downstream monitoring and evaluation to support area-based pioneers in designing and conducting evidence-based operation to promote Learning City collaboration. Even though each city has its own special characteristic and development agenda, we have an assumption that all cities need learning and data as the key instrument to tackle all challenges. This is the concept of area-based collaborative research, which PMUA has adopted. For those who are interested in this concept and methodology, you can discuss with me and PMUA afterwards. But to save time, let me move on to the third component. The third component is Learning City Award. We aim to use award as a symbol of recognition and celebration of the achievement of cities, as well as raising public awareness of the Learning City movement and value of lifelong learning and sustainable development. The goal of this award is to motivate mayors or their representatives to adopt the Learning City framework and strategies to address and improve the challenges in their communities. And thanks to our key partners, the Equitable Education Fund and our research team from Puyao University, we have drafted 4 categories of Learning City Award. The 4 categories are Learning City, which excels in promoting economic green growth, in elevating social equity, in engaging the role of youth, and in managing their cultural capital. There will be a selection committee yet to be established right now, using 5 criteria as seen on the slide. The criteria are leadership commitment and city mechanism and development plans. The second criteria is the city should have a concrete output, outcome, and impact. The third criteria is that there should be a visible and physical learning space, enrichment. The fourth one is that we should have innovation and technology as part of the how to move the learning city forward. And the fifth one is that they should have the plan for the future. So this is an example of what we are now thinking. It may be modified later on, but at this stage, this is what we have right now. The fourth component is the Learning City database and digital platform, which is an indispensable component of the Learning City platform. Database includes study resources, research projects, city profile data and progress, clips, news, best practices, showcases and virtual exhibition, learning innovation catalog, and tools. All these are in the process of making, so we have now started compiling and start doing the database. I can probably give you a glimpse into it. Could we link it to this? We'll show you a bit of the website of this database. This is the first page of the website, and here's an example of Chiang Mai Learning City, which focus on the, could you play it? Have some sound? Chiang Mai Learning City focus on the upholding of their cultural capital and revitalize the local consciousness. And it needs a lot of learning from all parties involved, to make Chiang Mai truly remarkable. There's no sound. They cannot put in the sound. You just look at the picture. But we will add on other cities, like something like this. And we don't have to invest. People in the city want to tell their story to the world. So this is a platform where you can come and look and share. Okay, that's enough since there's no sound. Okay. Go back to the slide. For the fifth component is the Learning City Week. It is designed as an annual event or festival to celebrate the success of cities as well as to strengthen the sense of shared vision and mission towards lifelong learning that could bring concrete changes to people's lives. Currently, each city has their own Learning City Week. Like this is a case of Rayong, and this is the case of Chiang Mai. But we are thinking about timing them to come into the same period of time. of the year so that we have a festival of learning city in Thailand. Because we believe that walking together, we can walk farther than just walking alone, right? So this is the way the Thais would think. And last but not least is the sixth component, lifelong learning booster. Here we explore and compile all educational and learning innovations, technologies, community-based initiatives, outreach program, learning spaces, workshops, training aimed at empowering individuals of all ages to pursue learning and personal growth, as well as meeting city challenges. In sum, the Thailand Learning City Platform is an effort to bolster changes in cities across the nation by putting lifelong learning at the core of the endeavor. By leveraging the strengths of cities and through a coordinated approach involving collaboration, research, resource provision, celebration, and recognition, Thailand hopes to lay the groundwork for a future where learning is integrated into the fabric of everyday life, supporting the well-being and prosperity of all its citizens. We hope this platform would be an example of a tool, a kind of instrument that can help push forward the Learning City movement, and hope all our neighboring countries' cases would join in and help make this platform rich and fruitful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Silaporn, for sharing with us there the perspective of learning cities here in Thailand. She mentioned the challenges, and we really need to focus on children, people with disabilities, the elderly as well, ensuring that no one is left behind, and also highlighted Thailand's action plans. She mentioned that it has room for enhancement, but it is absolute. So we're definitely, absolutely going to have to take those actions once again. The Thailand perspective, thank you very much indeed. Now, yesterday, after the end of the parallel sessions, the high-level officials met. We had a closed-door discussion on the joint plan of action going ahead, how we are going to collaborate further. So I would like to invite two individuals up on stage to give us a summary, a report to all of you. I'd like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Pun Tiang Buranatham, Deputy Director of PMUA, and if we could also have Ms. Le Tui Mi Jiao, the Deputy Director of the Ho Chi Minh City Department of Education as well. I would like to invite Ms. Le Tui Mi Jiao, the Deputy Director of the Ho Chi Minh City Department of Education, to also join. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, just announcement quite a bit after we have been strong discussions and fruitful discussion this yesterday evening. For the room that we discussed, we looking forward to decide how to we work together for the Learning City ASEAN+ platform, right? And basically, we start with the three frameworks that how we will join together. The first one is how we set up this kind of conference to the next host to make sure that our meetings like this can be happens every year. I think it should be a fruitful based on the UNESCO and all of the network support. One thing, and second thing is that we share together in the macro that very serious is that we need capacity building, we need knowledge exchange, right? These are key things. And also, we're looking for the platform also. So this kind of framework that we start up yesterday, and we bring a discussion together. For the results of the discussions, I think we come up with 5 bullets that we very voluntarily commit, right? Voluntarily commit that we will work together without the budget yet, but we will move forward with a good heart of the lifelong learner. You learn each other. The first one, we will set up the platform for the ASEAN, right? For the ASEAN city, how we interlink together, especially in terms of the knowledge exchange, in terms of the database exchange, and so on and so on. And we will work closely with the UNESCO also. Secondly, we will send a survey to all of the city around the ASEAN+, to help each other to learn in each other based on the survey. So we're gathering the city profile and also gathering what the learning space and what's going on inside that is to learn in each other. And then we will explore a potential of the stakeholder and financial support from the network that we have it. And the fourth is we believe that before we met next year, going to meet together next year, we will set up at least the webinar. And we ask the UNESCO host with us to do a webinar together. We can discuss and start to learn to each other what is going on. At least let me design. Not every month is too much for us. Might be at least in the webinar in terms of the 4 months, 3 months each, right? Or binary. Let's decide together, and then we constantly collaborate the existing the network that UNESCO have, like a Pascal, UNESCO, SNet, and Creative City, and bring out the other network join together. That is basically the brief. And our delegate from the Vietnam, we will add something. What's next? And we expect to visit you in Vietnam. Okay, please.
Bây giờ là chị cứ nói trình bày những cái mục đích tiếp theo của Việt Nam là gì, rồi mình là một cái thành viên mới, mình phải giới thiệu về những cái vấn đề của mình đang Việt Nam.
Hello everyone, good morning. Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh chúng tôi vừa được tham gia vào tổ chức mạng lưới thành viên của tổ chức UNESCO. Chúng tôi đến với hội thảo hôm nay sẽ tham gia 3 vấn đề cam kết.
It's our honor to be the new member of UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities, and we came to this conference with 3 points.
Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh chúng tôi hiện nay có khoảng 11 triệu dân, chiếm 10% so với tổng dân số của Việt Nam. Chúng tôi có đến 1,7 triệu học sinh. Trong đó, chính sách đầu tiên của thành phố là phải đảm bảo tất cả 100% học sinh đều có chỗ học.
Ho Chi Minh City, we have 11 million people living in the city. We have about 1.7 million students, and we have the policy to ensure that 100% of all students, all children have learning facility to create learning conditions.
Chúng tôi có đến 25% học sinh hiện nay chưa có hộ khẩu. Điều này đặt ra một vấn đề khó khăn cho thành phố Hồ Chí Minh trong việc chuẩn bị nguồn lực đội ngũ giáo viên, nguồn lực về cơ sở vật chất và đặc biệt đảm bảo 100% học sinh tiểu học học 2 buổi trên một ngày.
We have around 25% of all students that do not have the household registration, which means they are coming from immigrant family from outside the city, and we must also take care of all of them. Especially, we have to prepare the working force, the teaching force, the classroom, and other facility to ensure that they have the adequate facility to study.
Do vậy, chúng tôi cam kết sẽ đảm bảo 100% chuẩn bị về nguồn lực ngân sách nhà nước cũng như xã hội hóa để đảm bảo học sinh của thành phố được tham gia vào trong mạng lưới học tập toàn cầu này được tiếp cận một cách bình đẳng.
That's the reason why we are committed to prepare all the financial and human resource so that all the students of Ho Chi Minh City can have access to the advantages of a city as a member of the global network of learning city of UNESCO.
Vấn đề thứ hai, thành phố chúng tôi bắt đầu triển khai tiếng Anh trở thành ngôn ngữ thứ hai trong tất cả nhà trường. Việc này chúng tôi sẽ chuẩn bị về nguồn lực, đặc biệt để tạo mọi điều kiện học sinh thành phố Hồ Chí Minh được hội nhập quốc tế và trở thành công dân toàn cầu.
The second thing is that we are preparing to gradually turning English into the second language in school. This is a very important thing to have our students to become the global citizen.
Đến với hội thảo, chúng tôi cam kết sẽ cùng với các thành phố, mạng lưới của thành viên sẽ cùng giao lưu học tập và để trao đổi nguồn lực về đội ngũ giáo viên và học sinh.
We are committed to work closely with other city, other member city to improve the English level of not only our city student but also with other member city.
Và vấn đề cuối cùng, chúng tôi hiện đang xây dựng các cơ chế chính sách để cùng tham gia xây dựng việc thành phố học tập theo những điều kiện thuận lợi cho công dân được đào tạo lại và bồi dưỡng về nâng cao trình độ, tham gia hội nhập, trong đó quan tâm nhiều nhất đến đối tượng là người khuyết tật, tạo mọi điều kiện được bình đẳng trong xã hội.
Lastly, we are also perfecting the mechanism and policy on building a learning city, which includes mechanism policy to create favorable conditions for workers to be trained, to be retrained, and foster to improve the qualification and professional skill. Policy to support people who are no longer in a working age, housewives, and people with disabilities. They must all have favorable conditions for lifelong learning.
Cuối cùng, xin kính chúc sức khỏe tất cả đại biểu và hẹn gặp lại trong thời điểm thành phố Hồ Chí Minh được đăng cai tổ chức của hội thảo.
Lastly, we want to express our appreciation and we are looking forward to welcoming all of you in Ho Chi Minh City. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I would like all of us for the lifelong learner and learning cities founder for the ASEAN+, applause for ourselves and everyone as our lay out this infrastructure to the ASEAN country in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Associate Professor Dr. Pun and also Ms. Le Tui Mi Zhao. Kam Eun. Thank you very much to the interpreter as well. Thank you. All right. So that was the report of the outcome of the high-level officials meeting, which was held after the parallel sessions wrapped up here in this room. As you can see, the senior officials, they do not stop to work hard. They continued on with their discussions. And Dr. Raoul even mentioned, he brought up in those discussions, if I may say so, he's really encouraging for such platforms to happen, for us to all get together and have face-to-face discussions. Dr. Rika, you also really emphasize the need to meet. And talking about meeting face-to-face, we have an exciting platform for us to all meet, and that's going to be the 6th International Conference on Learning Cities taking place in Jubail in Saudi Arabia. And it's very exciting indeed because we have someone who's going to come and tell us more about the 6th International Conference on Learning Cities, Dr. Sirhan Ibrahim Al-Bati. He joins us live via Zoom. He's from the Jubail Technical Institute, the Managing Director of Jubail City. Can you hear us loud and clear?
Yes, thank you.
It's wonderful to have you present with us live via Zoom. Please, if you could tell us more about this very significant, exciting 6th International Conference on Learning Cities that will be held in Jubail.
Thank you. First of all, hello everyone, my name is Sirhan Al-Bati, and today I will be talking about the 6th International Conference on Learning City. Under the patron of the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz, the Royal Commission for Jubail and Yonbwa will host in Jubail City, the 6th International Conference during the period 3rd to 5th of December. Titled, the slogan of this conference will be Learning City at the Forefront of Climate Action, which is in line with the Saudi Green Initiative launched by His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud. This is the first hosting in the Arab world and the Middle East in order to accumulate the kingdom's fruitful effort in enhancing area of international cooperation at various levels. This selection of this year, or the logo of the selection of this year, is aligned with the Kingdom commitment as a G20 member and its active role in promoting climate action. The objective of this conference, of course, is to promoting awareness on the importance of lifelong learning as a tool for sustainable development, exchanging experience and successful practice in implementing continuous learning program, contributing to the international effort for climate action, encouraging international cooperation and sustainable learning, and of course honoring the winner of the Best Learning City Award in the UNESCO Global Network. Of course, the hosting of this conference, it will be in Jubail Industrial City, which is located on the east part of the kingdom. And this will consider the first hosting in the Arab world as well as the Middle East. The conference title, as I mentioned a while ago, it's in a line with an initiative launched by His Royal Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The initiative named Saudi Green Initiative and the Green Middle East Initiative. The conference supervised entity is by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Culture Organization, UNESCO, represented by the UNESCO Global Networking of Learning City. Participant, of course, official from the UNESCO Institute for Life Learning, mayors of member city, expert, and those with vast interest in lifelong learning, education and culture official in member city. Some activities I would like to share with you today during the conference. We will have opening ceremony announcing and honoring the city that won the UNESCO Learning City Award, followed by speech by their excellency and international expertise. Main conference, we have plenary sessions and workshop, regional meeting and gathering. Of course, we arrange for expedition and a tour culture visit to heritage and to highlight the Saudi identity. The first conference was held in 2013 in Republic of China, and second was held in 2005 in Mexico. Third conference was in Republic of Ireland in 2017, and then in 2019, the fourth conference were held in Colombia. The fifth conference in 2021 were held in Republic of Korea, and we are hoping this time that it will be, inshallah, in Saudi Arabia, and we hope to build a strong bridge of knowledge and close cooperation between our city through this distinguished gathering to achieve our common goals in the field of sustainable development and environmental preservation in order to achieve a sustainable future for our city and the entire world. If you allow me, I would like to thank the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization of UNESCO, UNESCO Global Network of Learning City. Also, I would like to thank UNESCO Regional Office in Bangkok, Program Management Unit on area base, Ministry of Higher Education, Scientific Research and Innovation, Thailand Ministry of Education, Office Knowledge Management and Development. Thank you.
Thank you so much to you as well. Shukran, Dr. Sirhan Ibrahim Al-Bati. We truly appreciate you taking the time to give us an overview of the 6th International Conference on Learning Cities. There we go. Well, it is going to be the first meeting of its kind in the Middle East, and we do hope to see as many of you as possible there in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, so that we can push forward our agenda on learning cities. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the closing part of our ASEAN+3 Regional Learning Cities Conference. We do have a special closing video presentation on Bangkok Learning City. So we'll have that video up for you on the screen, and fingers crossed that there will be no technical glitches. So audio and visuals.
Good afternoon, Kun Chachat Sintipan, and a warm welcome to UNESCO Regional Office here in Bangkok. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, ครับคุณสุสวัสดีครับ
It gives me a real pleasure to congratulate Bangkok on becoming UNESCO Learning City earlier this year. And Bangkok is joining a global network of 355 learning cities from across 79 countries.
And thank you very much for UNESCO for choosing Bangkok to be a learning city. People need learning, and it's not only in the curriculum. So it has to be lifelong.
This also means that we must have learning opportunities for everyone. How do you plan to make learning more, I would say, equitable and more accessible in Bangkok so that we can ensure that no one is left behind?
Right now, we have about 240,000 kids in the preschool level, but we have only 80,000 in our system. So I think the first task will be to improve the admittance for the preschool into our system.
I'm sure that as a keen runner, that I know that you are, you're familiar with the Bentukiti's new wetland park. What else is Bangkok doing to help citizens learn about environmental sustainability?
So if you go to our school, we have like a recycling. We use food waste to make fertilizer in schools. Every morning, they have to measure the PM2.5 and put the flag. If the air is good quality, you get the blue flag. So I think the basic thing, you should start at school from the young generation, and they will become very important assets for the future of the city.
I'm so delighted to hear that you're already here in Bangkok implementing this greening education initiative that UNESCO is promoting. Are there any initiatives around learning or education that another city elsewhere is doing well that you'd like to bring back home to Bangkok?
The example from other countries that I like would be from Singapore. They have a program called Skill Future. So they give voucher to every citizen to choose the course that to enhance to like upskill language, AI.
What is one lesson from Bangkok you'd like to share with other learning cities?
So I think the key thing would be collaboration. So if we can collaborate with the private sectors, you can bring many smart and good people who can help our kids, So we initiate a program called Saturday School. We have a volunteer who is like a mentor, come to school on Saturday and give the class to the student.
It's volunteerism also, right?
And I think you feel proud to be part of the solution.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your vision for Bangkok as a UNESCO learning city. We'll be going outside to plant a jackfruit tree in the UNESCO garden. And I'd like this tree to be a symbol of our mutually supportive partnership.
Okay, thank you for inviting me and thank you for all the collaboration you have with Bangkok.
That wonderful exclusive sit-down interview, fireside chat with the Bangkok Governor Kun Chatchat Sittipan there, the closing video. But we're not wrapping things up officially just yet because we want to open the floor here and extend a final opportunity for anyone here to leave some final comments, some final remarks and interventions. So if you do have any closing words, please kindly raise your hand and the team will run over to you with a microphone so that we can all hear your final thoughts, your final takeaway loud and clear together. So please, encouraging you to voice whatever it is on your mind, leaving us some last powerful, impactful messages so we can continue to move forward together. Do we have anyone here who would like to leave some last thoughts and some last reflections? I would like to invite our dear friend, our dear colleague from Legazpi City in the Philippines, Mr. Jose, please, if you could share with us your final words, please.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I have a message here from our, good morning, sorry, from our colleagues. Of course, the distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and friends. As we draw this remarkable conference to a close, we, as representatives of the city government of Legazpi, are filled with a profound sense of gratitude and optimism. Over these past 2 days, we have witnessed the power of collaboration and the shared commitment to fostering lifelong learning across our cities. Our discussions have been rich and insightful, highlighting the innovative strategies and best practices that can transform our urban landscapes into vibrant learning communities. We have explored the critical role of education in promoting sustainable development, social inclusion, and economic resilience. We would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to all the speakers, panelists, and participants for their invaluable contributions. Your dedication and passion are truly inspiring and have set a strong foundation for future initiatives. As we move forward, let us continue to build on the momentum generated here. Let us strive to implement the ideas and solutions discussed, ensuring that learning remains at the heart of our urban development strategies. Together, we can create cities that not only thrive economically, but also nurture the intellectual and social well-being of all citizens. Thank you once again for your active participations and for making this conference a resounding success. We look forward to our continued collaboration and seeing the positive impact of our collective efforts in the years to come. Safe travels and see you at our next gathering. Mabuhay. Thank you.
Thank you so much to you for those closing remarks. Dr. Raul, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but perhaps you could share us some reflections, please. I won't give you too much time, perhaps a minute, as we really have to wrap up soon, but it would be fantastic to hear some final thoughts from you, please.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I was not prepared, but I'm always prepared to say thank you. A big, big thank you to all of you, because this is a conclusion of a big, I can imagine, great work that we cannot see very clear, but what we can see is that it was an excellent conference. The well-organization by all partners together, working together, this is a kind of it. But more important, I will say, the commitment is very clear. I'm very proud to be here and see and witness how committed you are into the promotion of lifelong learning, the promotion of making this world a better place for our people. So thank you very much for the privilege. I'm learning a lot, and we are all learning together in this process. Very much willing to continue supporting you as UNESCO, and as many other agents, many other units working for the same purpose. So it's really nice to work together, build together the promotion of quality and lifelong learning for all. Thank you, and I wish you all a great travel back home. Thank you.
Thank you so much to you, Dr. Raul, for sending out those very positive, energetic ripple effects. We cannot wrap up without one more message. I'm all for empowering children and especially women as well. So Dr. Rika Yorozu, the Education Program Specialist at UNESCO Bangkok, please, if you can inspire us, you have the final words.
We still have the study visit to the Great Learning City activities in Bangkok this afternoon, but just echoing what Raul said, thank you very much for all our great partners in Thailand in making this possible, and all the participants that came from the Southeast Asia, plus 4 from Korea, Japan, China, and Australia. And my ask to you is please share what you have learned when you go back with your city, but also with at least one more city, your neighboring city, on what kind of excitement it is to set up a learning city movement. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much indeed for all your final inspirational messages, those positive remarks that's going to send out those positive ripple effects, and for all of us to continue to work really hard. That's going to officially conclude the conference part. As you heard from Dr. Rika, we have that exciting field trip for you, but the ASEAN+3+4 Regional Learning Cities Conference, we thank you so much for being committed to this cause, to continue to work towards overcoming those challenges we heard about, so that we can build stronger lifelong learning societies and communities. We will continue to strengthen and enhance our capacity, identify, disseminate good practices, and go above and beyond. Please, you are invited to enjoy your lunch that's taking place in the Summer Palace or Espresso. Collect your coupons on the way out, and you can see where you're headed for lunch. It's on the mezzanine floor. Also, you know what? We are a small group, but we want to send out a powerful message to the masses. We're going to make use of social media. Please stop by at the exhibition outside, stop by at the booths here, take those photos, upload them on social media, and please hashtag so we get the message out. Plenty to hashtag. We want to hashtag UNESCO. We want to hashtag PMUA, of course. We want to hashtag Learning Cities 2024. We want to hashtag Lifelong Learning Thailand 2024. There you go. So please get on social media. We need the power of the masses. We need to collaborate together. I'm definitely going to be hashtagging my posts on social media as well. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute honor taking on the role of Master of Ceremonies for this day and a half. Please don't forget your field trip, your study visit. It's going to start here at the lobby of the Intercontinental. Buses will start to leave at 12:30. So rush out for your lunch and then rush to meet at the lobby. Enjoy your field trip and see you all in the next conference. Keep working hard. More power to you. Respect and สวัสดีค่ะ